Hello, welcome to the video, and today I actually think I've found the bargain bin version of Ghost Adventures, which is saying something because the quality of Ghost Adventures isn't all that high to begin with. I found it on IMDb and it held an impressive 2.1 out of 10 and it lasted 6 episodes before being cancelled. So this was an indication it might not be the highest quality of show. The show is called Killer Contact and it's basically any normal ghost show, except they're trying to solve history's biggest mysteries with the power of the paranormal, like who Jack the Ripper was, why the Mayan Empire collapsed overnight, and if Vlad the Impaler actually became a vampire. I'm not joking, they actually did that.
Is Vlad a Strigoi?
So without further ado, let's get into the video. So the first problem actually starts with the intro, because it tries to make out that these lot are a brand new kind of investigator.
There's a new breed of investigator.
And, you know, what they do is somehow unique.
But what sets this team apart is they use the paranormal to solve these crimes.
Right, so every single ghost show ever made. Also, it tries to be super serious by introducing them as this elite ghost hunting team, introducing them with all their various aliases and roles, and it was just frankly laughable. They all sounded like Year 7 gamer tags. So there was Austin the Point Man, who is the leader, Adam the Brain, who is smart because he wears glasses, Hector the Tech Guru, who wasn't much of a guru, like when they need to investigate on the water, he just puts the equipment they already have on an inflatable raft with a platform.
Oh, what is this?
This is the raft.
That's some utter genius if I've ever seen it before. Then you had Molly the Role Player. It was her job to reenact things to make ghosts speak. Like, this included pretending to be dead, pretending to die in a fake Mayan sacrifice.
Is this what you want?
And by far my favourite, pretending to be a prostitute and flirting with the spirit of Jack the Ripper.
I'm lonely. And I'm cheap.
However, she's wearing modern clothing. Why would he react? Since he has absolutely no clue what she's wearing because it won't be worn for another several decades after he died. Her job was pointless other than to scream at literally everything that happened. However, my absolute favourite was Greg the Antagonizer.
Greg, the antagonizer,
whose job it was to literally shout at ghosts until they made contact.
What you did to those people was unbelievable!
I mean, when it's someone's job on your show to aggravate thin air by shouting at it, I'm not surprised it got axed after one season. I almost want to make the whole video about the fact there's a man called Greg the Antagonizer. It might just be the greatest alias I've ever heard in my life. It's so phenomenally bad that it's great.
What you did to those people was unbelievable!
The show would then start with the team on their way to whatever mystery it was, and it's just some of the most ridiculous stuff I've ever heard in my life.
Police had their chance. Forensics had their chance. Everyone's had their chance to find out who Jack the Ripper was.
What exactly are you referring to here? Police forensics back in 1888 that didn't exist, or police forensics now when the evidence is over 100 years old and no one from the period is alive? How is this a valid point in any way? I'm pretty sure if they had police forensics like they do now, back then, they would have caught the guy. They would then split up and look for clues. 2 of them would go and talk to an expert, 2 of them would go and talk to people who had ghostly experiences, and Hector the Tech Guru would, I don't know, duct tape a camera to a piece of wood. So firstly, we have the people who met the experts, and I actually feel bad for them if they are experts, because it was their job on the show to get asked the most basic shit you could find on Google in 5 minutes. This is stuff like the name of Jack the Ripper's victims and how he killed them, some backstory on Vlad the Impaler, and what impalement is.
Can you tell me about impalement and what it was like?
Considering how elite the intro made this team look, you would think they would have looked this up before flying thousands of miles. Also, in the Jack the Ripper episode, they used subtitles for the expert.
Ripper's murders took place in 1888. It's the reign of Queen Victoria, and London's thriving. It's a very bustling city.
I'm sorry, but by British standards, that accent is not hard to understand. Did he really need subtitles? Are we that hard to understand? Also, you just have to love the editing. This show is just how many close-ups and thud sounds can we cram into 42 minutes. Then it came to the documented hauntings. These were either really boring, like glasses are breaking in my pub,
A glass above my head on the shelf smashed.
or just very unconvincing, like this woman who claims she was pushed down the stairs by a ghost only 24 hours ago.
It's just a huge boomph. And I just went flying down the stairs.
Right, there's some really narrow stairs, and apparently she isn't injured at all. Apparently she fell all the way down them.
And I just went flying down the stairs.
Yeah, okay, most people don't fall down an entire set of stairs with no injury whatsoever. You would think they would ask for some proof when they saw her, like, oh, can we see these injuries? Can you prove it? But no, of course not. It's probably just a friend they had in London, and they were like, okay, cool, can you be in our show? They would then meet up afterwards to discuss their findings.
Each murder, from the first one to the fifth one, escalated in violence and skill.
Thanks, Greg. You've told us what Google could do in 5 seconds. Also, why is he saying it like it's some groundbreaking information?
He started off maybe kind of experimenting, playing around. By the time he got to the last one, he knew what he was doing.
I'm pretty sure it's this guy's job to antagonise the audience more than the actual ghosts. Now we get to the actual ghost hunting part, where they go to a place and turn the lights off, and the places they went often just didn't make sense. Like with Jack the Ripper, they went to the 10 Bells pub, where it's rumoured he hung out. There's no confirmation, and they went to the 10 Bells pub, and then they somehow find the spirit of a victim who didn't die there.
Catherine Eddowes, is that you?
And supposedly the spirit of the Jack the Ripper suspect, Aaron Kosminski, but he died in an asylum 10 miles away. And with Vlad the Impaler, they went to a castle where he lived, but he died in Bucharest 116 miles away. Yet they always seem to find the exact person they're looking for. The only reason for this I can come up with is because they can't get access to the actual places, so they just settle with whatever they can get. So the actual hunting part is not dissimilar from most shows like this. They went to a place, turned the lights off, and then said, oh my god, a lot while their machines went off.
No way. No way. Oh my god.
Although we do get Greg the antagonizer trying to bait out Vlad the Impaler.
And if Vlad is in this castle, I will find him.
Why are you running?
Show yourself and face me, like the tough guy you say you are.
Okay, so let's just assume he's there. Vlad was Romanian, and this guy's speaking English. So unless he spent the last 500 years on Rosetta Stone, he's not going to reply, is he? However, what makes up for this is Greg the antagonizer versus Vlad the Impaler.
What you did to those people was unbelievable! Now get your ass out here!
If that's not the best matchup you've ever heard, then I don't know what is. Now at this point, they would always pick something up, like the ghost would say something, and they'd give him a clue. Then they'd go back to the expert that would make the connection. For instance, one of Jack the Ripper's victims said leather. Yes. That's clearly someone in the room. Also, you don't need to be an expert to know another name for Jack the Ripper was the leather apron. Another example of this is when a ghost is speaking in Vlad's castle and it says the name Yona.
Well,
Yona was Vlad the Impaler's wife. Wouldn't you know that beforehand if you'd done the slightest bit of research? Also, is it a rule that these shows, when a ghost speaks, they must give clues as cryptic as possible? Oh yes, thank you ghost for that one-word clue that's just enough to work with but not enough to give it away to the audience. So at this point they go back and start using really weird ghost hunting tactics, like giving miners money.
Come get some.
What are they going to do with it now, Greg? They're dead. They don't need money anymore. You're like 100 years too late. Also, asking the ghost of Vlad to pull Molly's hair, because apparently he likes to do that.
Are you the one who pulls hair?
Yeah, the history books got it wrong. It was actually Vlad the hair puller, not Vlad the Impaler. Anyway, eventually they would find 100% accurate proof of whatever they were looking for. And by 100% accurate, I mean their machine would spike every time they asked a question.
Kosminski, are you Jack the Ripper? Oh my god.
So that's it. Decades of science and studying undone because your machine went beep. Apparently even the experts were convinced.
you nailed him.
They almost certainly got a fat paycheck to appear, as if they were remotely interested in what these guys were doing.
You nailed him.
And that's it. That's the show. The end. This is probably one of the worst ghost shows that there is. It's not even entertainingly bad like the last one, except for Greg the Antagonizer. If it was 42 minutes of this man shouting at thin air, I would happily watch it. The whole show is just bargain bin Ghost Adventures, and that really is saying something, because Ghost Adventures is terrible, but that's somehow going 24 seasons strong, and this lasted 6 episodes, so it's doing something right. There's just an endless wave of plot holes, like speaking to ghosts in languages they don't speak, trying to tempt them with technology which is centuries ahead of them, and tempt them with clothes that wouldn't exist for decades afterwards. However, I think the main problem is that they're looking for specific ghosts, and it becomes even less convincing than most ghost shows because of this, because you expect people to believe that you found people that you were looking for 100% of the time, even though most of the time you're looking where they didn't even die. Sometimes it's hundreds of miles away from where the people died, yet they find them every single time. Overall, this show is pure garbage. I mean, I wouldn't even suggest watching it. It's just terrible. It's not even entertainingly bad. But you can watch it if you want. I mean, there is only 6 episodes and they're all on YouTube. So if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.